back with After Action Workshop. It is about, we're right about a week
Yep.
before Christmas. I think we got, we're what, 8 days before Christmas?
So I don't even know anymore.
Something
I
like
know we're
that,
just
right? Yeah, like we're like right there, man.
yeah.
So uh I guess we can kind of call it the pre-Christmas show. Uh
Mhm.
and the pre, I don't want to say the pre-holiday show, because the holidays, I think we kind of count that in as soon as Thanksgiving comes around, right?
Thanksgiving, yeah,
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 this whole holiday season thing, right? So yeah, so this is one of the holiday shows. I know we talked a little bit about this last week in reference to the holidays. So we're gonna kind of keep that theme going, and and just some of the pressures, some of the hardships in dealing with the holidays as a first responder. As a first responder, and I'm going to start off real quick by um, I was just thinking, like, what when did it get that way? Like when did it start getting like to be a stressor, a weight, an obligation, just one of those days, one of those times of the year to just kind of wish we kind of breeze right through it, and then just kind of get in January and get the next get started. So, and for me, and this is kind of deep rooted, but I've gotten one of those birthdays right that's close to Christmas. Just kind of sucks that way, right? So and this isn't, my mom, God bless her, she made it a point to make sure it was two separate days. I had my
it's
birthday
good.
and I had Christmas, so God bless her on that. But man, everybody else,
So
and as a
I
kid,
know I got a birthday close to Christmas too.
yeah,
If you get, I got to tell you, if I get Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas, my whole life, I was like, actually, the funny thing is, and I used to always look forward to this card. One of my aunts, because I've got 900 of them. One of my aunts, for somewhere along the line, got my age screwed up, so I would get last year's age every year. Like she was off a year.
right, right, right. As that close to that close to Christmas birthday, you'd get this right here. Hey, this is for your birthday and for
Hey,
Christmas.
Chris. Yep.
All
Yep.
right, you get one of those, and then as a kid, that shit would just I
Oh,
just
it sucks. It sucks.
started to kind of like, what, it's just not a big deal,
And everybody, when you're a kid growing up, everybody's off for the holidays.
Yeah,
So it's not
yeah,
like kids that had it like throughout the school year, where
right.
like everybody like on a weekend or something like that. Which I don't know. I mean, maybe that's better. I
It
don't know.
just it's just one of the, so I kind of grew up with Christmas and the birthday kind of being one and the same, and not getting too hyped about either one.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of the way I kind of grew up, is because, you know, they kind of messed each other up. It kind of lessened the importance for both of them for me, and as a kid, right? So, that's not the reason for Christmas, but that's just, again, that's kind of when it started being not as a big deal for me as a kid. So then, uh, uh, and let me ask you that, Chris, and take it into the work if you don't mind. When did the holiday season, when did Christmas, just if you can remember, if you can put your finger on it, when did it start being just eh?
Shit. I mean, like, so I moved around a little bit, from different
Mhm,
different parts of the
mhm,
world, and when because my sister's 9 years younger than me, so when she came around, it started being like pretty. Not that my mom didn't do anything. I mean, they went bananas, but
right,
it was more of like a fiesta than it was anything else. Like it was just a reason for all the family to get together and yell at each other, and my grandmother be in the corner reading palms, and just somebody getting drunk and yelling at somebody else, and then hugging it out, and then so. But when my sister was born, they kind of stepped it up a notch. But
right.
I was a little bit, and then we moved shortly after that. But when I was older, I remember the holidays kind of losing their. Here's the weird thing. I don't know that they lost it, but I started to realize how I wasn't involved in it as much anymore. I was
Hmm.
employed, and
Right.
I was deployed, and I was like, where was it? I was in Kuwait, maybe, or
Mhm.
somewhere. I forget where it was, but I remember being deployed. I'm going, and somebody, and I think we all forgot, but one of the guys in my gun crew was like, "Hey, Merry Christmas," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, I'm looking at, I was like, "Oh shit!" It is. I was like, "Man, this is like Christmas week," and because Thanksgiving they had like some bullshit on the mess deck or whatever like that, and then
Right. They give you that sliced turkey, right, with the stuff and
yeah. Listen, if you ever got something good to eat in the military, like really, really good, stand
yeah.
by. You're getting ready to go somewhere. Yeah,
Right.
they
Right.
get ready
Right.
to take it all in you.
Right.
Uh, yeah, you get some weird paper thin turkey, and I'm not talking shit. Our cooks were they were gangster, especially like 3 in the morning, where they're like, "Hey, I got you. We'll hook you up."
Right.
But
All right.
yeah, because you're so far removed from it, and you're like in other you're in other parts of the world and different cultures, and I think rather than holidays, me coming home, because I didn't really come home, but like 2, 3 times my entire time I was deployed. Um, that became like special. And then we
Right.
kind of, kind of did that. But the holidays kind of long. And then I literally on terminal leave from the military when I started the police department. So I'm on my own in the police department, still getting that military paycheck and all that good stuff. And then you're the new guy, right? So you're the new guy, so you're gonna work all the holidays, all the shit shifts, and all this other crap and stuff like. Which I'll be honest, I didn't care. It didn't bother me, but I think that first when you're talking that first time, I was distinctly remember being deployed and going, "Fuck, this is okay. This is all right. Happy holidays."
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. The deployment thing just kind of added for me. It kind of added that same feeling because I was 19 or 20 when I got deployed to Desert Storm, and we went right around just I mean like days after Thanksgiving, and we I spent
Yeah, it was like beginning December. I know a lot of guys were.
yeah, we went right after Thanksgiving. Like literally, I had the turkey, and I think that next week we were gone, right? So, um, and so Christmas, I was out there in the desert, and that was different, But I kind of, that was different, and we were just kind of sitting there, as that was a different war, as everybody knows. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just I actually, it's kind of funny. Come over here thinking like I just thought I was doing something different on
Yeah.
Christmas, and that anyway. But then coming back, right? So I go to the police department. And like all of us, we're working hard. You're putting your nose down and you're just getting it best you can because you want to be that person. You want to be the person that people can rely upon when the shit's hitting the fan, right? That they can depend upon, when shit's hitting the fan. So you do all that, and I think the first little bit for me, first few years, like especially without the kid. I was working, Christmas. I was working New Year's Eve. I was working Thanksgiving. Uh, and just didn't think too much of it, just getting it. Um, and that was kind of the thing for me. I think for me, somewhere around my fifth or sixth year of just working those uh uh holidays, more especially, it just started losing importance to me and didn't really care about the whole being festive, so to speak. And married, I had a wife and she had more festive in her blood. She had enough for the whole family, so and I let that happen. I just kind of let it happen. Hey, go ahead. What about you? And I'm getting calls here.
No, it's all right. So I got the big thing was Christmas tree. Everybody wanted a Christmas tree and all this other shit. And I was like, fuck, it takes forever setting stuff up. I can tell you, like something like maybe up in like 10 years ago. Oh my God, it's been longer than that. Like maybe 15 years ago or something like that.
Hmm.
We went away from the traditional tree and we got like the Charlie Brown tree, like the little tiny tree. I don't want to fucking deal with a tree, putting it up or getting a new whatever and setting the whole house up and stuff like that. But like around the house, like Jill will set up she's still like down with it, so she'll put up the Christmas stuff. But we had a Christmas tree with just like cop and Navy shit on it. That was all like little like figurines and stuff like that. So it wasn't like a huge, because Jill was, she was a cop, and so our shifts were all sorts of wacky and like, whatever. It wasn't a big thing. The big things for me were like New Year's Eve. Like, I'll work the holidays. I don't give a shit. But come New Year's Eve, I want to party and I want to do all stuff. Or 4th of July, I didn't mind working too much. But like when we talk about the holidays, everybody talks about the big ones, just Thanksgiving and Christmas. And to me, they really, it wasn't anything. And when we got to like for me, all the women in my family, like May is huge. Like my sister, my grandmother, Jill, all beginning of May. So, and of course, my sister's born May 5th. So that was Cinco de Mayo all year long.
Yeah.
Crazy. Nothing but a bunch of Colombians celebrating a Mexican holiday, but it was awesome. Like shit like that, I would want to be like kind of around for.
I didn't even do New Year's Eve, man. It was I worked New Year's Eve a lot. I did have a couple where I was off. I think, and I'll tell you that this always, I think I brought this up one day already. I always remember that day, New Year's Eve, where I got called in, and from a party, got called in. I'm an on-call guy, and go out, and it was the fire. The lady had the cigarette hits the couch. I was supposed to sleep. Cigarette hits the couch, and anybody that the burning flesh is just one of those things that you just never forget. So yeah, that always sits in my mind as one of those things that just kind of tainted even New Year's Eve for me. Just like I'm over here partying and this kind of thing has happened. And just kind of nasty in that way. So. Just to think that over the years, and I know if Doug was on, he everybody knows his story on Christmas Eve, where he was coming home and he saw just a horrible accident, and rushed. I say rushed home, but when he got home, wanted to share that, and kind of got shut down. And so they never shared anything again, and that's a constant reminder. Of course, Christmas Eve, constant reminder of that horrible accident he saw, as well as New Year's Eve and a couple things that happened on Christmas. I'm reminded of those things on those special days, right? Because they're significant days. So, but then I remember of this is a stupid story, but I remember us getting in trouble because we're going to the hood and we're doing a search warrant. SWAT team warrant, and we're in a U-Haul truck, and because it's hard to get in the hood, and spot, that thing, people are whistling and giving heads up to everybody. So we're in the U-Haul truck, we're all hanging on, in the U-Haul truck, and we're waiting to get to our location, and man, the streets were full of people. It's a Christmas holiday. I forgot it was probably a week or so before Christmas, and we stop. The door we open the door. Door opens up, and one of the guys on the SWAT team yells out, "Here comes the Grinch, motherfuckers!"
Yeah.
And so
you got to make it festive.
Oh man, you're talking about
to me that I can understand why somebody would get upset, but I mean,
yeah. So the bad thing was now you're talking about 15 SWAT guys jumping out of a truck all laughing. We're laughing at the guy in the truck, because everybody heard it. He yelled it out loud, so we're all laughing coming out.
Were your guys' uniforms green too?
We were green back then. Yeah, green.
Nice. Nice. Green, so so on Christmas. By the way, if you worked anything where you were, hunting men and violent men and shit like that, Mother's Day and the holidays were the best time to catch them at home. So we're constantly working. And then every year for like when I was in homicide, when we had, without fail, if there was a homicide party, our Christmas holiday party, triple homicide would go out. Like without fail, like a multiple homicide go out or multiple shootings or whatever it is. I don't give a shit when we had that party. It was just going to happen. So, I mean, even the party gets kind of cut short, and you're like, all right, whatever.
So
And
let me ask you this, Chris, and I'll give you my answer in a second. But over the holidays, over the holidays, was it busier or less busy? Was there more work to do or less work to do?
oh, I know we were slammed. I like narcotics. We were slammed, and in homicide or violent, like
Yeah.
robbery, homicide, slammed. Like I don't. It was when it gets really really hot, it gets busy, and the holiday seasons. Because again, people are spending money. They're out there. They're doing their things. So that shit goes sideways really really quick. And forget about some of the busiest nights we had were Thanksgiving because of the Black Friday, and it was like back in the day. It was. I don't know if it's still like that. I don't. My dumb ass doesn't go out there anyway. But
Right.
I don't. I'm not trying to save $100 on a flat screen TV. So
Yeah.
But like
No.
those days,
Yeah.
dude, fights, shootings. Someone would steal something, bring it home, and then somebody would rob and shoot them to get that back. It was like our holidays were pretty busy. It got
Yeah. Same here. We would get slammed during the holidays, from Thanksgiving, and you put it right that Black Friday, and
crazy.
people have seen it. You've seen it all over the country at the and I'm just going to name Walmart just to pick on them a little bit, but you've seen those videos, and that is not an exaggeration. I mean, Black Friday used to be, I don't want to talk about it now because I don't go out there either anymore, but used to be just a zoo of a shopping day. It could be a zoo. But from that point on through January, like 2nd or 3rd for us, because we would have the bowl games and just be people all over the place. So
Yeah.
the violent crimes would just skyrocket for those 6 weeks. And I'm saying, about 6 weeks, that it would just skyrocket. And I would see the most horrible stuff happen within that time.
So everybody's got that. Like you guys had the especially end of the year, you guys had the bowl games, which you not only are you getting like just your regular.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be busy, but now you're getting people from all over. I remember being in New York when I was in high school in the band, going to the Orange Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going down there and doing stuff. So not only do you have that, but now you have an influx of a bunch of idiots coming down there, because I was one of them, that are doing stupid stuff or whatever, whatever it is. So that's where you're at. Where I'm at, our population changes by the million depending on what
the ship and
goes out.
Right.
Battle group. So and they're on a 6-month rotation, so want to be gone. Christmas got pumped up because also, again, with having ODU, Norfolk State, and all the colleges here, all the kids would go home. Burglaries go through the roof, and those burglaries go sideways when the people that didn't go home were in the house. So it became the armed burglary and stuff like that. But like when a squadron or a battle group came in, tons of shit goes through the roof. I mean, like because you got people out there drinking, having a good time. They're back, stateside. So, and a lot of people don't know this. When we were deployed, with the exception of Canada, we had what was called Cinderella Liberty, which meant you had to be back at the ship or the command by midnight. No questions. When you got stateside or, in Canada or a little bit southern, you just had to show up for muster the next, whenever that was, 6 or 5 or 6 in the morning, whatever it was. So now they're all out and about and now they're doing stupid shit, trying to get back, and they haven't been partying like they were for a long time. But now you got hundreds of thousands of people out here, right? Mm-hmm. So you get that. You get a lot of the violent crimes. We saw pretty huge uptick, especially around that time, of sexual violence going down because of people coming. We did get a lot of false like rape allegations, like for example, and I was new I didn't realize this. So I'm working with, she had been a detective for like 20 years at the time. all her time was done in sex crimes. So we go to this call where lady said she was attacked by a stranger. And so I'm sitting, I'm like kind of taking notes, kind of listening, and she had this like whatever kind of look, and I'm like, man, that's cold. That's a cold person. They were like, the lady gave this unbelievable description of her assailant, and my dumb ass is like, okay, well, all right, I get this. Blah, 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 blah. By the way, and I don't know what it was. It was a generic 6 foot tall black guy. That was like from the victim. So you're like hearing all this, like, all right, whatever, kind of take it down. She starts yelling at her. She goes, that's bullshit. And I'm like, all right, this is a victim we're talking to.
Right.
She's 3 months pregnant. Her husband just came off of a 6-month deployment.
Oh.
Now she's got to justify why she's 3 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that kind of, because that wasn't my family work. But she was true, and she goes, this time of year, or if a battle squadron comes
in, right,
they go through the roof, like sexual assaults. So now imagine all this stuff and people hearing that, and all it was just chaos. It was absolute chaos. And it was funny because I was now working, because my last command was Sim in Norfolk, was like in Norfolk. So it was funny seeing a lot of the same kind of folks that I was,
And you think, and I always, what do people think? Let's just take it twofold here. What does an everyday person think about the police and how we handle things and being festive and all? They think it's just normal for us, right? Is that what you think? I mean, that's what I think. I think that they believe that the Christmas spirit hits us in the same way it's them.
Nah. Well, so, and I can only speak to when we were on, because it has changed. Like, there's a lot more like community involved. Like, I don't want to say community involved, like, but more like when they started doing like they started doing Shop a Cop for a while ago, and that was like one thing. But now there's a whole bunch of different things, and they have people going. Our sheriff's department just did a whole big thing on the news, going around helping people get, which is cool. But we weren't doing that back in the day. We that wasn't like our jam, right?
Okay, so Shop with a Cop's been around for a while.
Well, it used to be called Shop with a Cop. We had to change it because some asshat trademarked Shop with a Cop. So now we had to call it Santa Cop or some.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Some assholes like trademark, and then sued a couple departments for calling it Shop with a Cop.
Well, they still call it Shop with a Cop down here. I just saw it on Facebook.
I'm gonna call my attorney. I'm gonna talk to them and be like, "Yo, what's up?"
But that's been around. That's been around for a while. But like you said, outside of that, I don't know that there is a whole lot of other stuff around the Christmas time. I do think that I think the stress in everybody else being festive and expecting us to be festive after you've come from, shooting scene, a traffic accident, a homicide, SIDS, all those other horrific, type deals. It's hard to bounce back from that. And we just finished saying that over the holiday season, it's unfortunate, but these violent crimes go up.
And let me answer this, because the violent crimes 100% on point. You know what really used to bother me? When we go, and I don't give a shit what area it was, white, black, Hispanic, whatever. There was always a portion of the community that's, again, significantly just poor, right? And watching some of the kids with nothing. And then you go like a couple blocks one way, and they're arguing because somebody got a transformer and I didn't get, and they're all like, that used to I'm like, because you want to grab them and be like, hey, like 4 minutes away from your house, there's like 15 kids that don't have shit right now. And they're also getting treated like shit by their family. With normally it's like grandma was taking care of them, or, and again, race had nothing to do with it. It was white, black, because we're such a mixed population where we are. I don't give a shit who you were. You all, each community had their own fucking poor, struggling. Yeah. That used to break my fucking heart watching like because you go to a call, it'd be a domestic like next door or something like that, and then you're like out there and you're trying to be nice, like, hey buddy, what's going on, and then you see and they got nothing, and I was like, I used to be like, fuck, that. See, but again, we see that every day, and it used to. Listen, if you want to be a piece of shit, hats off to you. Be a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. I look at those kids have no choice, and they're stuck being cared for by older siblings. A lot of them, right? That to me wore on me more than because like the violent stuff. I was like, yeah, that sucks. It really does suck, and I hate seeing that kind of stuff. But that's kind of like it happens, and you're like, okay, that just happened. These other kids are like existing in like this shit show of a life. That just bothered me. And I was like, how the fuck can you be like, and then somebody be like, oh yeah, I want to get this, or I'm thinking of getting, this trip or this toy or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, how do you transition from that to being festive for the Christmas holidays? Well, let me ask you this. So what does Merry mean for you? That's one of the questions we got. What is Merry? What does being Merry realistically look like? Back then, then we're going to say now, but let's talk about back then. What was Merry?
Merry means to me means ignorant, like ignorant to the bad shit that's going on. Yeah. Like I don't know how you could just be like. I know you can find joy in a lot of stuff and stuff like that, but being Merry to me is like this sense of. I'm just like, yeah, everything's great. Everything's not great. Things should be great from time to time, but Merry to me in my mind is like this constant, like just a very joyful person. And I'm like, right. I don't know that person, and I don't know what it's like to be like that, but I get it in like little small portions. Like you do something works out, or you get somebody like hooked up with housing or with some support. I worked with a couple nonprofits when I was on the job that used to help folks out. I'll plug them all day long. Like the Chaz Foundation, Guy Bo that runs, his brother had killed himself, and he connects with the community, with folks with mental health issues and stuff like that. And having him hook up with people that need help, or I got to tell you, man, churches, the synagogues that we worked with, all the temples and stuff like. I would love that stuff. Like when they would do so to me, those are like brief moments. Like, all right, that was really cool. And then let me go handle this where this kid hasn't eaten for like 5 weeks and mom and dad are fighting over the PlayStation.
Yeah. I got to a point where I thought people that were in that Merry, hey, I thought that was just fantasy land. And I, of course, I live in the world of Disney, right? So I just thought that was fantasy land. I thought, people were just putting on airs, and that kind of thing. And I just like, hey, the real world's over here, and that's where I happen to live, So that was, for me, that was a lot of, hard to get motivated to go buy some gifts and be happy about that when the bad stuff's going on all around you.
Also financially, like especially because like I come from a huge family, right? Mm-hmm. Earlier on, it was apparent if you were to get a Christmas card for everybody in my family, you'd be broke. Right. It's ridiculous. I got like 100,000 first cousins. I got my aunts, 2 uncles, all this. You'd be broke, right? So like giving a call or something like that. But the other big thing is. And Jill's my wife's she loves making sure everybody get their gift. And I don't know if you've had this conversation with people. Don't get me anything. I don't want anything that I need. I get throughout the year. I don't need anything. I don't want anything.
I'll say, give me underwear.
I'll get socks or underwear randomly throughout the year anyway. I don't want any. Like to me, opening a present doesn't like oh okay, I get it. Right. I appreciate the gesture and everything, but. Yeah, say and don't get me a card.
Right.
Give me a call. I don't give a shit about. And I love. Oh, this is a good one, right? So I have a couple friends that sent out the family. You get the family cards
Mm-hmm.
with take a portrait, and on the back it lists all the shit that they did. But get a couple of them that do it, and I'll send them. I'll call them or send them a text like, "Hey, you look stupid, and like, I can't believe your wife made you dress up like that," or something like that, right? So I got this one. My address.
Right.
I have no fucking clue who the people are. Like no, like I don't know them.
Oh wow.
I put them up on the fridge.
Right.
I was like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, that's our people, man. What are you talking about? And and she's reading and she goes, oh my God, this kid got into college. I'm like, we've been waiting for years for this kid. She's like, do you know these people? I was like, I have no clue who these fucking people are. So we have some strangers Christmas shit on our fridge. So to me, that's being married. I'm celebrating somebody who
And,
fucked
and
up
that
the
and,
wrong way.
and that's okay. So I think that we got to remind people that well, remind us, we know this, but people that don't know that around the Christmas time it is a little bit tough to get married. But what does it look like now? What is being married? What does it look like now?
And this is a great time to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
You and Doug are working on some stuff down in your state,
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
bad shit that happened. We're up here in Virginia, and we just recently had a law enforcement suicide. This time of the year, like it doesn't surprise. It sucks all day long, but it doesn't surprise me because people get lonely. People get lonely. You get lonely, and maybe you get separated from your family, your loved one, or you don't have family or loved ones, or stuff like that. And work is everything, and then you kind of go again. And I'm not talking about what's going on here, this year, but like the theme is it's kind of the same. And the holidays, it's one thing to be like understand that hey, sometimes the holidays aren't great for everybody. It's another thing to appreciate the holidays really suck a lot for some people. And like I think my sister's going somewhere, like they're taking a trip. Like we've been traveling. Like me, we've all been like on the my greatest. Someone's like, what are you gonna do for Christmas or the holidays?
Be home.
I'm gonna get to stay home and do I'll watch TV or whatever. But of
Right.
course, we come home for the holidays and do nothing. And in the middle of trying to do nothing, we get hit with some horrible shit that happens somewhere in our state or around the country.
So I think, and you're kind of saying what I was going to say is that for me, being married is to be home and be around my family. I appreciate them more now than I did. Then didn't know how to appreciate them for a long time. I kind of lost that for a little bit. So being married now is being home and being with my family because I think I know I am more aware of what's going on around us, like you just said, with the mental health of our people, and knowing that this is the time of year that there are a select few out there truly have been struggling all year, but it gets heightened. Is that a better word? A good word to use during the Christmas holidays? It gets heightened at this time of year. And so I'm more aware of that. So being married kind of has two meanings, to dual meaning for me, right? So I'm appreciative of being home, and I'm happy to be with my family and grateful for that. But I also understand that doesn't mean that for a select few of us out there as first responders that are truly struggling with the demons that they've been dealing with all year, and now for them to have somebody smile in their face and say, "Hey, this is a great time of year," when a lot of times those people that are struggling throughout the year, it's again, it's getting heightened. There's more shit happening. It's becoming more violent on the streets. They're seeing more stuff, and the pressure is greater now to put on that happy face.
So a friend of mine sent me something like, oh, hey, happy first day of Hanukkah, happy, Hanukkah, blah, blah, blah. and immediately was followed by what happened over Bondi Beach over in Australia, the mass shooting and stuff like that. And I'm like, politically, religiously, all this shit kind of comes to an end. So here's funny, and I don't know if I said it last show, but I when I was just up in New York, we brought it up because we're doing this Power and Pierce training. And I asked the crew that was, taking the class, I said, have you ever met somebody that was so happy you wanted to punch them in the face? And everybody's like, yeah, 100%. And I'm like, that's us.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Like, most people don't look at somebody happy and go like, I just want to punch them right in the throat, kind of thing.
Right.
Well, I think we look at that like, oh my God, I don't think they realize how shitty life can be for some people sometimes. And it's just, it's heavy. It's heavy to see. So here's the irony. I don't think I trade my experiences for anything.
No.
I don't. As shitty as they are, I wouldn't trade them for anything. I'd love doing what I do. I love doing it with the guys and girls that I was doing it with, and still get to do it. But man, it's one of those weird things. Like it sucks, but at the same time, you're like, man, we had some really funny ass great times on the job that are just awesome, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But you kind of got to take the good with the bad, and like to what you were saying, like back in the day, I don't think we realize. What was it? Youth is who the fuck said that? Mark Twain. Mark Twain, I think, said youth is wasted on the young. Yeah. Like I wish I'd have known. I wish I'd have been in the same mindset back then that I am kind of now.
Wish I knew then what I know now. Yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing, but like reverse. Like I wish I had that enthusiasm and like wide-eyed, like, oh, everything's great now. I think it was I don't think I appreciated it as much back in the day as I would have now. Like how awesome that would be. Because I look at my nephews and my family and everything like that are like they are pumped about this Elf on the Shelf thing. And so me and my sister go back and forth. There's I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram. I forget which social media thing it is, but there's like a whole thing on like crazy shit you can do with the elf. Like they had one, like there was a Marine, like a little Marine action figure holding the elf, waterboarding him at the sink, or like the elf, like bringing in like all the stupid shit.
I saw a stupid one, man, where there's a Barbie on like a mixer. And she's naked on the mixer, kind of twirling around slow, and the elf is sitting down there.
There's money. Yeah. No, I said so I was sending her shit like that, but she's like, I can't do that.
God, we get off on a tangent here. So let me ask you this, man, and I'm going to make a statement out here and just chime in, but I can't. It was way harder for me to even think about raising my hand during the holidays to try to get some help. There is just no. I think back to 100%. My days of truly struggling. 100%. I don't think that during the holidays there was ever going to be a time I'm going to be, would have had the courage. I think that's the right word. The courage to put my hand up and say I needed help.
Just did that with. I was up in New York, and I got a phone call from another state, and there was an individual that was struggling, and the family was like, "Hey, this individual is struggling," and and you know this as well as I do. Most people that work in this kind of industry, nobody wants to go into treatment or get help during the holidays. That's just something we don't want to do. But I kind of followed it with. Because the big thing was, I want to be home for the holiday with my kid.
Yeah, right.
And I was talking with one of Arthur, one of the guys. He goes, "Yeah, I'm sure he wants to be home for his kids, but we want him to be home for the next 30 years for his kids." Which, again, and maybe this is the way we look at it. January 25th, December 25th is just a day.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want them for like January 5th and, April 7th, and like all the other days. And we put a lot of emphasis on that. But there's a lot of shit that we can do. But so this kid winds up going to get help, and I remember talking to him. I was like, the amount of courage, because you just said it too, and it just rung the bell with me. The amount of courage it takes for you to say, I need help right now, and I'm going to miss out on the best thing I can describe it. It's like going on a deployment, a very short deployment. Like I would love to have done a 30-day deployment, but it's like going on a deployment. It's something we need to do, service wise, whatever. But we also have to do it. Like my time in the service was for a lot of reasons. One was to, because I felt an obligation, but the other one is there's a benefit to it. Like post service, there's things that we're entitled to. And I know I'm the number one critic of the VA and some of the systems and stuff like that. But there's a lot of benefits and entitlements to veterans that aren't really being used and like year round. Like there's a lot of stuff available to us. But the courage it took for this kid to be like, all right, I'm going to miss a very important holiday to take care of myself. And I'm like, I just wished I would have had that mindset back in the day. But you're right. You're right, man.
I also think that I don't want to hurt the family. I don't want I don't want to
put that on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to put that on them. Not now. And I always follow it up with, in January there'll be a reason to, there'll be something else that I can't do it now in January because
there's always I can't. I got this coming up.
There's always something, right? So, but yeah, so there's always something. But yeah, during the holiday season, I think that we hear I want to miss the family. I don't want the family to be worried about me. The financial reasons, there's financial reasons in there too, because over the holidays I earned a lot over the years. I earned a whole lot between overtime and
half, double time.
Yeah. So we earned a lot during the holidays, but yeah, there I think for me and in my experience, talking to people over the holidays about that. Number one, the courage. So we get some people that would, raise their hand. Yeah, I need some help, but I need to do it in January. I need to do it in June. I can't do it now because worry of
it's more I don't want to do it. Not I can't do it.
Yeah. And I don't want to hurt them right now, kind of thing. And I that's what they would say, So I think there's some truth in that, because I think it's fair to say to any family member would say, hey, we want our first responder family member to be well. It does suck that it has to be during the Christmas holiday because of the significance. We want the family to be together. That's the time everybody gets together. But I don't think you ever hear a family member say, well, no, let's take a chance and wait till. I don't think it, but I think every one of them would say, yeah, it does suck that it has to be now.
So I was talking to somebody separate from the guys that I was dealing with, and they're like, well, maybe it'll get better. I said, here's the thing. It's like an oil leak. And it was funny because immediately I remember because I was flying from Bahrain out to the Mediterranean to meet my command. And I was underneath this red hydraulic fluid just leaking all over me. I'm like, dude, to the crew chief, I'm like, hey, man, it's a fucking situation right here. He goes, that ain't a problem. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, it's only a problem if it stops leaking. And so I'm reminded of that when I was talking to them. They're like, maybe it'll get better. I said, no. It's just going to stop leaking. And that's when the real issues kind of come up. The other thing, and I think you touched on it a little bit, is we don't want to put a couple things, pride, shame, all that stuff. But in the middle of these like holiday festive times, everybody's like kind of trying to do their thing, be festive and merry and all this. You don't want to be the guy or girl that brings them down by like, hey, I need help in the middle of like this festivity, right? And it's almost like I saw that a lot because where we worked with all the universities and stuff, there's certain students that couldn't go home financially for whatever reason. They lived far away, they didn't have the money. And I was like, so what do you do? They're like, well, we're just kind of hunkering down for the holiday break or whatever. I said, okay. But a lot of folks will come up to me like, hey, listen, you can come to our family and spend time with us. And a lot of them were like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be charity. And I don't want to be the person that when I'm at this big festive thing that everybody's looking at, like, look at that poor bastard.
Right.
It was like a mix. It was like, it's a whole bunch of, it gets a little complicated, but
yeah.
I see both sides of it. I just there's a lot of emphasis on happiness and stuff I think for what we understand to be probably one of the toughest parts of the year for most first and their families.
So let me ask you this. That being said, I'm going to give you the hypothetical here. And this would never happen because nobody would be this crazy. They made Chris Scallon chief for a day.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. A lot of people be like, what the?
They made Chris Scallon chief for more than a day, right? For a year. How and this is your first holiday season. What do you think would be the best way to support your troops? To and whatever that means. I'm just gonna leave it out that way and make it real broad. What would be the best way?
I'll tell you. If I were in charge, if I were like the head chef, I wouldn't be home.
Right.
I would be at every shift.
Yep.
And not one time. Not one time. I'd be at every shift multiple times.
Yeah.
Making sure that they got. And I know sometimes having like a boss kind of like on the ship will kind of tighten some people up a little bit, and they're like, we got to. But if they need something, I'm right there. What do we need? What do we need to get done? Like, because again, and here's where I kind of like, where I kind of look at that kind of situation, because we had there was one of the chiefs that I worked for that they asked, they're like, well, what can we do? I was like, I don't know. Why don't you show up at 3:00 in the morning?
I was gonna say AM. Yeah.
3:00 in the morning, and have breakfast with us, right? Or because we're eating like at Denny's, or why don't you hang out with us at the 7-Eleven in between calls, getting some nasty ass hot dog or some chips or Slurpee, whatever, right? And just shoot the shit. It would make it. Here's the thing. There was a, and this is the best way I can describe. There was a captain I worked for in narcotics. His name was Les. He never raised his voice. He never like, you better do that. I have never heard him in the entire time that I worked for him, or anybody that worked for him. And there's one or two other folks that were like this. There's that supervisor that always says, hey, you need to do this. And be like, but can we do this? And they would point to their rank. Be like, that's why. He never did that. He never used his rank and stuff like that. He never talked anybody down. Well, he did me once, but that was a separate.
You deserved it.
We 100% I deserved it. But if he would always ask us. He goes, hey, can you do this? We had so much respect for him that it was like, it may as well have been that's what we're doing. Like, this is what's going on. And he used to be the guy like, and again, he was in charge of narcotics at the time, so vice and narcotics. And it would be like 10 to 20 minutes before you're getting off, and you hear him on the radio going, hey, could you run one for me? And he's stopping a prostitute who's working the stroll.
Right.
Let me tell you something. When he got on the air, everybody fucking hauled ass and went down there. We're not letting him do paperwork. We're not letting him do any. We're going to handle what we got to handle. Yeah. We worked for him because we won. And if you messed up, didn't get talked down to. You felt like shit that you let him down. That's so. When I look at that leader, I said, well, what does that look like? And he was a captain, right? What does that look like at the chief level? Well, I know the chiefs got to do their meetings and city hall and all this bullshit up there during the daytime hours, but holidays, you're in charge of people sacrificing. That's why Secretary of War. That's why the president, they go during holidays to people deployed.
Yeah.
Because that means something. And some people are like, well, they're just doing it for what? Give a shit why they're doing it. That means something. When you're there, you show up. So I think for me, if for some reason, I don't know, somebody had a stroke and made me a chief, I think I would be around and I would ask legit questions like, all right, what can I do?
Yeah, that's the part I was going to add there, Chris. Exactly. So man, you hit it on the head. The little bit I was gonna add there is to have some decent conversations with your guys, right? So just being there and kind of, and I give you, I've had both examples in my day, just looking at leadership in my agency and the sister agency. I'm gonna give you two quick stories, actually three quick ones. We had a chief that would come around during the holidays, especially more especially during the weekends in the busy parts of town. He'd have a cooler in the back of his car, and he'd go around and he'd kind of pass out drinks, and just you'd say thank you, but he kept going.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the Gatorade.
Check the box.
Yeah. So then there's a chief. And I'll throw his name out there, Eric Smith, chief of Orlando right now. He has normalized himself being on the streets.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. He does it not only during the holidays, but he does it on weekends. He'll just take a weekend. I know he does it a couple times a month. He is out there with That's awesome. Guys, and he's just talking to them, and he's taking backups, and just being present with the guys, having those conversations and asking questions. Yeah. And it's funny because you talk to Chief and he'll tell you, well, after this horrible call, I went to Chris and I said, hey, what do you think about the whatever issues going on with the union or what do you think about this? What's your take on that? It's getting your mind off of still some work shit we're talking about, but I'm getting some and they're getting some and we're talking about some different, or, and if he knows you're in football, but he's had some meaty, some good conversations with the troops, and the troops absolutely love him. He can't go anywhere in the city.
Well, it gives you the sense. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just that's all I give you, but for the most part, when you have chiefs or upper management kind of do that, it gives you the sense that you have some influence on making that place better. We can't talk about that without mentioning there's some of us, I include myself, that we're just going to be pissed and make everything a shit show. Like, right. Like I don't care how awesome you're trying to be. This is bullshit. Blah blah. Right. I was. I can't sit here and tell you I wasn't. But so aside from those, what I thought when Ed came down, one of the chiefs that I was dealing with, he's like, well, it would be good. I was like, man, show up at like 3 a.m. I said, one of the biggest issues that we have, and most agencies have this, is you have people making decisions for day-to-day operations that aren't doing those operations. Right. Which just by the nature of the command structure and stuff like that happens. I would always introduce, like if I was doing an initiative, and again, as a frontline supervisor, if I was doing an initiative, I would go to the people and be like, all right, that are doing the job. Like, all right, I'm thinking of doing this. Would this make sense? And sometimes I'd be like, no, that's dumb. Right. If you do that, that's going to ruin that. And because I don't see it from where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. So it's
30,000 feet. That's why I say we got to look. Got to remember the Chiefs always got to look at things from 30,000 feet.
But but I want to make sure that we also know that, like, we're there. The patrol is the backbone of most agencies, or for all agencies, really. And like specialty units help support patrols efforts and stuff like all that good stuff. And it's nice to have that chief come out and normalize that stuff. But it's also important for us, if they're doing that, we don't see the big picture.
Right.
And you know what? We need about 4 more cars and 3 more people right here. That's what we need to make my life easier. But I don't know why you guys and blah, blah. He's looking at an entire agency and working with having to do more with less. some things are going to take a hit, and we have to appreciate. And hopefully, that's when you know what I would take a lot better. Like I would work, and we talked with the guys that I was working with. I was like, I go through a plate glass window and work with nothing if I knew that guy, because I knew that guy had my back, and I knew he'd be like, all right, if I can help you, I will. And dude, when he said that, we sat us all down. He's like, listen, I'm going to do what I can to support you. If I can't, it's not that I don't want to. It's that I have 4 or 5 different things that are taking precedence that I know for you doesn't mean a lot, but for them and for the whole entire program,
agency, yeah.
So we have to look at it from that angle. The other thing that I really liked, and if I was ever in that position, I would do it. We had this in homicide. Like twice a year, we'd have not even twice a year, like maybe once every other month, we'd have a meeting. The meeting was with everybody in our violent crimes, and then it was just homicide. So homicide would be sitting there, be us, corporals, sergeants, lieutenants, and the captain. And the captain would come in and be like, here's what I got, this, 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 and this. Does anybody have any questions for me? And 1 or 2 people might say something that's at his level. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to cut the legs out from like your sergeant or your corporal or your lieutenant, right? So you ask questions that are appropriate for that, which is cool. Right. And so the captain goes, all right, I'm going to step out so you guys can discuss what you need to discuss without me being here. So he would leave, and the lieutenants would be like, all right, here's the mission. This is what we're doing. This is what we need. Go over a couple different cases. Hey, what are you doing on this case? Blah, 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 blah. Because, all right, any questions for me and for the lieutenants that were there? 1 or 2 questions, be like, all right, I'm going to step out so you guys can continue having the meeting. And they did that for all the ranks. And get down to like the sergeants, and the sergeant's like, all right, assholes. First of all, I asked that dumbass question. You knew the answer. You threw the lieutenant on the butt. We'd have that conversation.
Right.
The frontline supervisor would be like, we're out. You guys work with each other. It's now time for you to have your meeting. I got to tell you that process, because you bit your tongue. You didn't want to bitch about like me and Raul having a problem with this kid. He wanted me to do some shit, blah, blah, blah. I had to bring it up to the fucking captain. That's not his purview, right? But when we got into our meeting, all right, fuck sticks.
Yeah.
Do this. Why are you doing this? Right? And we can have like a real kind of conversation. Like, here's our goal. Do your job. Don't fuck anybody else while you're trying to do your job. See how you can help somebody doing their job, and so that we can make our boss look like a rock star, and then he or she can make their boss look like a rock star. That was our goal. Dude, I got to tell you something. I worked hands down, and we didn't get along with everybody on the team. But I will tell you this much, man. That was phenomenal. And I always appreciated that. And I thought, man, what a great leadership kind of.
I think it's presence. I think what we just said is absolutely making sure that leadership is present during the holidays. Don't disappear during the holidays. Make sure you're there and make sure it's real. Like, don't be the check the box guy, right? Make sure it's real. Make sure it's meaningful. And that doesn't have to be grandiose.
No,
it's got to be real. It's got to be genuine. How you doing? Everything going okay out here? Talk about whatever it is, but it's got to be real, and the guys will recognize
actions. And I'll leave this, and then we're coming up on time.
Yeah.
I was one of the newer folks that were in our violent crimes unit, right, in homicide, and I had this car was a piece of shit in a pool that we were using, and we were getting ready to go out on something, and they're like, hey, they're like, Chris, you and Scott's car, it's out of the fleet. You have this one now. This is a new designated car. It was a brand new Impala, which at the time was like, holy shit. It was like a spaceship. And we did our thing. We came back, and I'm like, hey, how did we get a new car? The captain said he didn't like his people having to respond to everything in a bullshit car that may or may not make it. So he had a new car as a captain, switched out the biggest piece of shit car for him so that we could use a better car. Because he's like, I don't have to go to these fucking things. You guys got to do it. At least I want you to show up and be in like a decent vehicle. And I
want you to at least get there.
Yeah, 100%, right? And of course, inevitably, we crash it or something, right? Like we do something stupid. But there was a couple things, and I said that I was like, hey man, that is a baller ass move, man. That was awesome, man. That was, and of course, there's the one naysayer. He's like, oh yeah, you know why he did that? I'm like, yeah, because we had a piece of shit car. He goes, no, the biggest piece of shit in the car gets replaced by the newest car in the fleet. I said, okay, what did he just give us? He gave us the newest fucking car in the fleet. So what? Listen, like again, but we're
What are you saying? Right.
We're
We're gonna find the
And
reason.
I look at it as like, hey man, this guy knows we have the job to do, and he's fucking helping us out. And I just thought that was awesome. And
It
I
is.
still remember
It's
to this
about
day,
being real. It's about being real during the time that matters, man. So yeah, man, we're coming up on that hour, man. Great
yeah,
discussion. And like always, guys, thank you to our boss, Marky, who is just behind the scenes doing her magic. Our boy Dougie checked in. He's busy with some stuff, but he's sorry he couldn't make it, but he'll be back next show. I'm not sure if we're doing it next week or the week after. Any case, as always, and before I even get going, this is the time where it a lot of us are struggling more, or feeling it more than we do the rest of the year. And as we always say, if you or anybody else needs some help or need anything from us, After Action can help you out. We have a 2-week program. We have a month-long program. We have IOPs. We have clinicians. We can help you. Reach out to us. Our information will be in the credits at the end of the show. No matter what it is, how big, how small, we can help you out no matter where you are in the country.
I will say, along with talking about our boss over here, Marky was a gangster coming up with. We had an amazing, information that we can disseminate. Yep. She created an amazing flip book, flowchart stuff. We gave her the information, and she glam rocked that shit. Awesome. Yeah. So if you're interested in wanting to hear about what we do and what services are available, reach out to us, and we'll make sure you get a copy.
It's kind of like a guide, like a go by. So if anybody needs that, definitely reach out to us. We can get it to you, and it goes step by step. You make this phone call, and we kind of walk you through the process. It's really, really simple, and the big deal about it is that we've really simplified it. We've made it easy. We've made it so once you make that first call, we can get you the help you need, and we can get it quickly, and we can get you good help. It's absolutely good. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do, is make sure we help our people. And with that, like I said, our information is going to be in the credits. So if you need anything, reach out to us. We got you. Good night. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.